This is exactly how much money I made in my business in September. All of my income stats. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to Full Body Sales, the podcast where we show you how to make more sales than ever in your online business in a way that feels authentic, empowering, and feels completely aligned with how you want to do business. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello and welcome back to the Full Body Sales podcast. Today we are doing probably one of my favorite episodes, and I've done this several times. I've pretty much been doing this for the whole year of sharing my income stats in my business and really just a behind the scenes look of not just how much did I make, but also where did this actually come from? How much was I working around this as well? What did this actually look like? What was the full picture context essentially behind any big wins? So you can just get full transparency here. And as I said, I've done this a few times this year now. I've mainly been doing it over on my Instagram, so that post will also be going up there as well. But I wanted to film a YouTube video and actually walk you through some of those stats because this is really important. This is something that I really, really value in the online space. And I think we're missing it a lot of the time. We hear the big shiny numbers from the 10K launch, the 10K month, but we don't hear any of the context behind that of, okay, what offers did that come from? You know, how much were you working during this month as well? Like, what did this actually look like behind the scenes? So I think it's really important to share. So I am being the change that I want to see in the industry and being fully transparent and sharing all my numbers with you here. If you want the receipts for this as well, because I'm a big fan of sharing receipts, they will not be in this video because that is a lot of editing, but they will be on my Instagram. So go and check out my Instagram. The link is in the description. So they'll be on the post there so you can see the full receipts for that. So as I said, this is something that I am really passionate about doing, and I've shared this throughout the year on the good months and the bad months as well. For example, when I was sick over the summer, my income was actually down a little bit, actually sharing that yes, my income was down, yes, it was at this level, and also for the context, I was working about 10-hour weeks at that point as well. So it made a lot of sense, right? But I think it's really powerful just actually seeing this and actually seeing the transparency behind a successful business, behind what it actually looks like to make that amount of money, behind the offers, essentially. How did things sell? What did this actually look like? So I want to share with you the numbers. So we're going to be diving into some fun numbers, which I have over on my laptop here. And I'm going to be sharing as well a full behind the scenes of the strategy of this, because in this video, I'm just showing really the numbers and the breakdown and the context of what this looked like. But I'm going to also be sharing a strategy type video as well. This is going to be a private opt-in essentially video. So if you are wanting the link to that, make sure you sign up at the link in the description. It will not be on the Full Body Sales podcast because this is just too valuable, honestly. But I'm going to be sharing the exact strategy behind how I had the month that I had and how I worked the hours that I worked as well at the same time. So if you're wanting to see the full strategy breakdown of what went into this, make sure you sign up at the link in the description. Okay, so let's start off. So my revenue in my business for September, that is the cash that has come into my business. So not sales, but the actual cash that's come in was $8,543 US. So this was my second biggest month of the year, which is super exciting. And the super exciting thing as well with that number is most of that was from one-to-one clients. So if you're not aware, my business is pretty much mainly one-to-one. I'll do one-to-one, then I'll do every so often some other offer which I'll throw out, which just feels exciting. So this month I was selling my one-to-one coaching, and then I also had the sales challenge, which I was selling as well, which I mentioned a few videos back as well on this podcast, which is essentially a 90-day challenge for just very low ticket, just showing up and selling, just a bit of accountability essentially challenge. Now the exciting thing with this was the sales challenge generated $1,296 over this month that I was selling it for, and that was 15% of my revenue then was from this sales challenge. So that means 85% of this revenue of that 8,500 was from one-to-one coaching, which is super exciting. And for me, that makes very much sense because I have a lot of returning one-to-one clients. My current re-sign rate for this year is 83% across my one-to-one clients. So a lot of people will just continue working with me because they really find the experience valuable and they just really value the long-term mentorship there. So it makes a lot of sense that we've got 15% from that new sales from the sales challenge, but I'm very happy with that number, I would say, of it made a good dent in the sales. It actually brought in quite a lot of new sales. We had 9 people sign up for that, which was super exciting. And yeah, having 15% being new sales feels very sustainable as well. We've got that very solid foundation moving forward through the months. Again, I'm going to be sharing the full strategy breakdown behind how I sold the sales challenge, behind how I signed these one-to-one clients as well, and how I've built this recurring income in the video, which I'm going to be posting up very, very soon. It's, again, going to be private, so you need to opt in for that. So sign up, link in description for that. But yeah, very good revenue month for me. Very happy with that. I think especially when you add in the context behind that, which again, something I always love to get into, is actually I was traveling a lot of this month. I was away for 22 days traveling. I went to Budapest, and then I was in Brighton, a beach in the UK as well, for half of the month too. So I was abroad / away at the seaside for over half the month, actually 22 days of the month. So quite a bit of the month. And obviously this time I was working a little bit while I was there as well, but it tends to be a lot more casual, a lot less chill, a lot more chilled, a lot less kind of intensive work days there. So I was very much kind of away for half of the month essentially, and still had those new sales come in, which again, the strategy behind how I was selling the sales challenge made it very easy to bring in those new sales. And obviously the fact that I had, 85% of that 8,500 income coming in from one-to-one clients was really, really powerful, because it meant that I didn't need to be chasing new sales essentially this month. I was able to go the month without signing a new one-to-one client because I wasn't really looking for that this month. And I think this is such a powerful stat to share as well, because I talk a lot, especially on Instagram, about the idea of making more and working less in your business. And that's kind of my signature thing that I do with one-to-one clients, is actually helping them double their income while working a day less in their business. And that's just from my average client stats, that number there. But it's really powerful actually to actually be the example of that and actually show what that looks like. I had my second highest month of the year. I was away for most of the month at the same time. So really just showing how that worked. And again, in the strategy breakdown, I'll really break down how that actually happened and how I was able to work those smaller number of hours while actually making more than I have most months of the year. Now, another fun stat as well, which I love to track, you've seen this on Instagram, I've been sharing throughout the whole year about my 100K net worth goal. So I've been tracking that throughout 2 years now, I think, so quite a while. So this month, my net worth, aka my savings and investments that I have, grew by just over $4,000. That was $4,019. So that was super exciting as well. And that's always a big goal that I have every single month, of I'm wanting to grow that by 4 figures each month. So I'm wanting to make sure money is going into savings, is going into investments from this as well. So it's not a case of I'm having a high month, but I'm spending all that on travel or anything like that. I'm actually able to save a lot of that as well. Now, another stat I wanted to include as well is evenings I spent working late essentially. So evenings where I was working away on my laptop, either on this business or on my second business, Spotlight, which is a tech software business as well. So that was about 8 from what I tracked there, that I was working late in the evenings. And again, I think this really comes down to the fact of it wasn't just me just being really, really chilled throughout the whole month. I was very much still looking to make new sales, especially with the sales challenge. I was wanting to promote this and was wanting to make sure I was putting my all into this essentially. So there were still some evenings where I was working a little bit later. Some of those though were very much the result of, I wasn't working in the morning, or I had the afternoon off, or anything like that. So it was very much the case of that a lot of the time. And that's why it was the evenings. It wasn't necessarily I had to, it was more just that works with the work kind of structure that I'm wanting, especially while I'm away and traveling a lot as well, and taking quite a few flights this month. But again, I think it's really helpful to actually share that, because sometimes we'll make that sound like a bad thing of actually we're working in the evening, or we're still on the laptop at 9 p.m. and make it feel like it's a bad thing, feel like we're, working too hard or anything like that. And I very much do not believe that. As much as I talk about making more and working less, the reason why I talk about that is so that you have the freedom to work when you're feeling excited about it, and you have the freedom to not be wasting time on things that don't need time essentially spent on them and just spinning your wheels in business, but so that you're actually being really optimized and you're being really strategic and you're doing the things you actually need to do. Sometimes that will look like working in the evenings, and that is completely okay. Doesn't mean we don't want to work hard, it just means we want to work efficiently essentially. So those are my stats for the month. So it was an $8,500 cash month while also traveling as well, which is super exciting and just really exciting to see those numbers kind of maintain while I am traveling as well, which it's kind of always done for the last year or two. But yeah, very exciting just to see that, and especially seeing that the 85% 25% was from one-to-one, which is very typical what I would have expected there. So would love to know in the comments, do any numbers surprise you? Do you want to as well see me do this for October, November, December? Should I do a Q3 breakdown as well? Because I can do that as well. I've done that some of the times. And yeah, what other numbers do you want to see? Let me know anything that you're wanting to see in these types of videos. Again, make sure you sign up at the link in the description for the strategy breakdown video. So just input your email in the link there and you'll get emailed out as soon as the private video goes live there. And that's going to be breaking down the full strategy of, okay, how did this actually happen? What was I actually doing? What did I actually do to sell the sales challenge offer? What did I actually do to build up the one-to-one clients to this level as well? And essentially just what did I do to have an 8.5K cash month while traveling as well? I hope this video has been super interesting and informative for you. If you found it helpful, make sure you give it a like as well. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And I will see you in the next one next Monday.